I'm Elisa Parker, and wow, this has been the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. And as we're wrapping up here in the Media Lounge, the Media Lounge has been part of the festival for over 15 years. It's always extraordinary, and big props to our volunteers, to Catherine and Brendan, actually our crew who's been with us for years. Catherine, Brendan, Tara, Mark, Emma, Jim, Kim Ewing, our volunteers like Nicole, who's been hanging out here all day. We have hundreds of volunteers that make this work. But again, many thanks to our crew to pull this off, and also to Nevada City Winery. And we really didn't even give props to the birds that have been here the whole time. The artist has been featured here and on display at Nevada City Winery, and art all over the place. I am so excited. He is our final but amazing guest. We have Evan Flom here with us. Evan Flom, and his film is called To Be a Good Home. Hi, Evan.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I feel like Sunday is a very easygoing day of the festival.
It is an easygoing
so it's been
day.
very nice. Yeah.
There's a calm in the town, but
Yes.
everyone's still out and doing their thing.
Yeah.
Did you say, had this been your first time to Wild and Scenic?
Yeah, it's my first time in Nevada City, first time at Wild and Scenic, and this is my first film as well. So
Amazing.
a lot of
It's
firsts.
your first film. Are you from the Midwest?
Yeah, I'm
Minnesota?
from exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, northern Minnesota, so Duluth, Minnesota.
Duluth. I have some friends that moved there recently who are from there, but man, is it look cold.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
I think it was negative 25 the day before I left
That's
town.
not a normal thing.
Yeah.
Evan. That's not a normal
It
thing.
feels great to be here.
I'm sure it does. Well, it's great to have you here. And so you're featuring, is it 3 different farmers?
Yeah.
Female farmers.
Yep, 3
Okay.
female farmers who are all close friends of mine.
Okay.
And so the film, it's a short film that just sort of weaves together their story as first-time farmers, just sort of the joys, the challenges of their individual stories and how they're kind of connected through those things.
Part of the reasoning, I think you mentioned on Friday on the green carpet in covering this, I mean, number one, farmers are decreasing, right? And then there's really, as far as female farmers, I think that was part of you even covering the story in the first place. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I mentioned, they're friends. So it was sort of easy to pick my subjects because we had all known each other for years. And Star and I in particular, I used to manage a farmer's market up in Duluth. And we were
Okay.
sitting at the market one day looking around. We're like, wow, everybody here vending right now is a female farmer. And it's not just that they're coming to their farmer's market booth to staff it for the market. They're running all of their operations. And I was like, I've been thinking about wanting to finally make a documentary and make a film. And these are the people I spend so much of my week with. And I just think they're all really incredible people. And she's like, well, you should do it. So then we did it.
And what gave you that charge? Like, I mean, even to create your first film. So what was it and instilled in you? Where you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I've been a photographer for a long time, always kind of as just like a passion side thing. Most of my career has been in food systems work, either working on farms directly, managing farms, or now working in like nonprofit advocacy side for beginning farmers. But what sort of led me to actually wanting to make the film is Minnesota is a great state for the arts. There's a lot of state dollars that get distributed to regional arts councils and things like that. And those funds will go to individual artists like myself or organizations. And that day at the market, Star and I were talking. She's like, well, the Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, which is the council near us, offers grants. You should fill out an application and try and get some funding for it. And I got a grant and I bought a new camera. And, once you put the idea down on paper and somebody gives you money, you really commit to it in a different way.
It's happening.
Yeah, I needed that fire lit. I needed to say I was doing it and then kind of be held accountable, honestly.
How are you optimizing this film now in your area?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, film festivals like Wild and Scenic. So this is the 6th festival it's been at now, which has been very fun to be able to share what is really such a regional, personal story to a wider audience. Not just in the Midwest, but places like California and elsewhere in the States. But then I've also been showing it just around town as well. In the upper Midwest, we held some screenings with farmers, and just our direct community. And, most people will recognize Caitlin and Hannah and Star, who's all in the film. But everybody is going to learn something that they didn't know about them in this film.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, what did you learn that was a surprise, even though you're friends with them and knowing their lifestyles? But what's one thing that was like, oh, I didn't know that before?
Yeah, kind of a lot, actually, even though I knew them so well. But being able to hear very personal stories about just sort of their background, like what led them to farming. Like, I didn't actually know that Hannah had grown up on a farm in the 80s during the farm crisis.
Wow.
Until
Yes.
we started interviewing. And she said that, and you'll see it in the film as well. She's like, I mean, when I grew up, I kind of learned that farming was a hard way to make a living. But then she was led to it through various things that happened in her life, and she found herself to be a farmer. And I just didn't know that background story, or hearing Caitlin's story of her family, and the fact that like her family has been on the Fond du Lac reservation just south of Duluth.
The ancestors,
and knowing how important they've been to like literally starting the communal farm on the reservation there. I didn't know that her family was the one that started that. And that's where we did all our interviews. That's where we shot everything. And that just gave a whole different importance to that day when we sat down to interview, knowing that that was the history on that land.
You're deepening the connection to the land, but also your friends and your community through this film, Evan. What would you want to say to everyone why it's so important to show up at a festival like Wild and Scenic, and what, you experienced it for the first time?
Yeah.
What is some of the magic of that as you go back and, what you're going to bring back to your own community?
Yeah. I feel like just being here to see these on a bigger screen than my laptop, where I'm like watching most things on YouTube or renting them from filmmakers' websites. Being able to be here and hear from filmmakers during their Q&A and see it with other people on these larger screens is such a magical experience to witness somebody's art that you just don't get at home. So yeah, I definitely recommend it to people.
Thanks, Evan. And by the way, I mean, for these films, like the theaters are packed.
Yeah.
The theaters are packed with these positive social change films and experiences, and filmmakers like yourself who were there to even build on that connection and share why this is so important to you. So, Evan, I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part of this, and we hope we see you again soon.
Yeah,
It's been an extraordinary weekend. And it's been people like Evan who's helped create the magic of this festival. It's people like you and all of our community who shows up for this incredible experience. It's been an honor to be part of it. I want to thank my co-host Kim Ewing as well for being part of this, and again, our amazing crew and all the volunteers in Nevada City Winery. We look forward to the 24th year of Wild and Scenic, and just thinking about how you want to show up. What's your personal story? What's your personal passion? There's nothing that's wrong. It's showing up and what works best for you. And as we talked about over this last couple of days, showing up holistically and knowing that everyone's interconnected, and how we bring joy and love into this is so important right now, and we need you more than ever. So thank you so much. And I'm Elisa Parker, and we are wrapping this up, the Wild and Scenic Film Fest Media Lounge. Thank you so much. Thanks, Evan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And you were super